This endpoint has validation, slug logic, and database code all crammed into one API method. In this video, I'll show you why this is wrong and refactor it step by step using clean architecture. I've seen this many times in my 20 years as a .NET developer, so make sure you hit the subscribe button as I'm going to show you what's wrong with it. For starters, we're exposing our database entity to the outside world. That means clients can send fields that they should never even touch. Our validation rules are all in this if statement. You imagine if you added additional rules to this, it could become an unmanageable mess. And we've got business logic in there, like generating the slug for the product. We can't reuse this across the application, and it's hard to test. We've also got database logic as well, so all our logic is crammed into this one API method. And if there's a validation problem, we just return a bad request. We don't know what validation rules have failed, but we can refactor this using clean architecture. We're going to have 3 projects for this. The API project is the presentation layer, and it will expose the endpoints to the outside world. The application project will have things like our services, DTOs, and validation rules. And infrastructure will communicate with the database and any other external services that we need. We're going to start by replacing the database entity with a DTO, only exposing the properties that we need. We're also going to replace the validation logic. To do that, we've created this DTO in the application project, and we're only exposing the properties that we need to create a product. To add validation, we add data annotations. So for the product name, we want it required, and we want a minimum length of 3 and a maximum length of 100 characters. For the price, we want a range between 0 and 100,000. As a result of this, we can replace the parameter with the DTO, and we can also remove the validation logic in there. We started our clean architecture journey. This is a much cleaner way of building a web API, and my minimal API course, linked in the description, will guide you through it step by step. Many developers have shared great testimonials about how it helped them structure and maintain their APIs. There's also 3 preview videos so you can see the setup and decide if it's right for you. Back to this video. The problem with data annotations is that it's really difficult to unit test. Fortunately though, we can use Fluent Validations. This allows us to add all our validation logic into a separate class. To use it in your application, you need to install these NuGet packages, and we've done that in the application project. As a result of that, we no longer need the data annotations. However, this won't work yet. We need to add it to builder.services. We've added this add validators extension member. We then need to register it as a scope service. So we call iValidator, and for the generic type, we have the request body, which is the add product DTO type, and then we register the implementation with the DTO validator, like that. We've created product service in the application project, and we're injecting the validator. We've also created the add async, and this will be called from the endpoint. But first, we want to validate the request, and we do that by calling the validator. We call validate and throw async, and we pass in the parameter of add product. Back to the endpoint, we can inject the product service instead of the DB context. As a result of that, we can replace this code by calling product service.addAsync, passing in the product. But when we have a validation problem like an empty name, it returns a 500 internal server error. This can be solved by creating an exception handler. We replace the status code with a 400 bad request, and to the response, we write a validation problem details outputting each of the errors. Now this won't work on its own. We need to register it in builder.services. We add the exception handler, and we also have to add the problem details. When the web application is built, we also need to tell it to use the exception handler. We're going to add an empty name again, and as a result, we now get a 400 bad request, and it details all the validation errors. In the original endpoint, we were generating the slug in the API endpoint. We're now going to move this into the application project into a helper class. This is the helper class that we've created. Inside that, we've got this method that generates a slug for a product. Now the great thing about this is that we can use this method in many different places in the application. We're going to use it in product services.addAsync. We call slug helper, generate slug, and we pass in the product name. So far, we've only used the API and application projects, but we need to add the product to the database, and that's where the infrastructure project comes in. This is replacing this logic where we were adding a product to the database in the original endpoint. This is our expected outcome in the database, where we expect the name, price, slug, and the created date to be included. This is the repository that we've created in the infrastructure project. It injects the DB context, and you must register it in builder.services. In the add async, we're passing in an add product DTO. We need to convert that to a product entity. So we do that by creating a new product. We specify the name, the price, the slug that we're passing in as a parameter, and we can set created to datetime.utc-now. We then need to add the product to the products in the DB context, and then save the changes. Back in the product service, we inject the repository into it, and in add async, we call the repository the add async method. We pass in the add product and also the slug. Let's test the endpoint out. We're going to use this request body for that. It's gone into the endpoint and it's calling product service.addAsync. It's doing the validation, it's generating the slug, and it's inserting the product into the database. It's returned a 204 successful response. If we update the database, we can see our record in there. By now, you should be able to see the benefits of using clean architecture in your projects. If you want to follow along, you can download the code featured in this video via the link in the description. It includes working examples of Entity Framework, and you can watch this video next for a deeper dive into it. I'll see you over there.